Merhaba arkadaşlar, how are you guys? I hope you're great. Welcome to my channel. My name is Resh and I'm running a YouTube channel that is all about languages, and in today's video we're gonna learn some Turkish. If you're into that kind of stuff, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned and also follow me on Instagram. In today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at some words that even Turkish native speakers mispronounce. And I'm not talking about some people, I'm talking about the vast majority of Turkish people who just mispronounce some words in Turkish. That is a common thing, I don't know why, but I have a big list of words that are being mispronounced by native speakers, and yeah, I did a big research on that since I'm a person who's obsessed with languages. And to all my Turkish followers out there, I want to know how many of these words you generally mispronounce. Let me know in the comment section below because I am very curious. Don't tell me that you pronounce all of them in a correct way. I mean, there might be some exceptions, but generally people make some mistakes, and in this video I want to clarify some things. So our first word is the word no, and this word is being generally pronounced as hayır, hayır, but it is wrong. It is not correct to say it that way because you don't put so much emphasis on the first syllable. You don't go hayır, you just say hayır. Hayır. In case you see someone who pronounces it that way and goes hayır, remind them that it's supposed to be hayır. Well, why do I think it is so important to emphasize those kind of things? Because if you want to learn Turkish, you should learn the correct version of the pronunciation of the words so that you don't make any mistakes. Someone asks you out and you want to go, no thanks, you say hayır, teşekkürler. Don't say hayır. Same problem with that long first syllable we have with the word tomorrow. A lot of people will pronounce this yarın in Turkish, yarın. You can ask a lot of native Turkish speakers, the vast majority will say yarın. But again, it is wrong. You have to say yarın. See you tomorrow, yarın görüşürüz, not yarın. Yarın görüşürüz would be wrong. Yarın görüşürüz, let's do it tomorrow. Yarın yaparız. Yarın. Okay, another word would be the word newspaper. Well, a lot of people, even though most people know the correct spelling of that word, which is like this, they pronounce it as gaste. A lot of people just say gaste. I don't know where that comes from and why people pronounce it that way. I'm not really sure of the origin of the word, but I've seen the word in other languages in a similar way of spelling, but the correct pronunciation would be gazete. Gazete. And also the word for journalist would be gazeteci. A lot of people will just say gazeteci, but the correct pronunciation would be gazeteci. I am a journalist. Ben gazeteciyim, not gazeteciyim. Okay, this word is probably being only mispronounced. Like 99% of the population just mispronounces this word. I have no idea why. A lot of people, to charge your phone, you would use this word, but a lot of people will say şarj. Şarj. That's insanely wrong. You will hear so many native speakers say şarj, but it is şarj. Şarj etmek, to charge your phone, basically, right? And the word charge, it's the same origin. It comes from French, charger, charger, okay? It's not charger, it's charger. So it comes from French, it's the French origin. Even the English thought, hey, that's a great word. We want that in our language, and said charge. I mean, you have not the same pronunciation, but you have the kind of the same spelling. So in Turkish it would be şarj etmek, or just şarj if you're talking about charging your phone or charging something, not şarj. Okay, the next word is chauffeur. Again, a French word that we thought would be nice to have in Turkish. Even the English thought, hey, that's chauffeur, we need it. Yeah, but you guys in America, English-speaking people, native English speakers say chauffeur. They have the same French spelling, but they don't have the pronunciation. We generally in Turkish don't do that. We don't take the spelling, we take the pronunciation, the closest possible pronunciation to Turkish, and spell it in a Turkish way. And English people do the exact opposite. They take the spelling but not the pronunciation. So yeah, in English you would say chauffeur, but the French version would be chauffeur, and the same way we have to say chauffeur. You will hear a lot of Turkish people say chauffeur. So make it an sound in the first syllable, but it's o, chauffeur, not chauffeur. Get that right. Chauffeur. Chauffeur. Fur. Okay, this is also a word that is being mispronounced and misspelled a lot, even in songs in Turkey. This is a word that we use a lot to describe a person. It means humble or modest. Maybe the word humble and modest are not being used that much in English or other languages I know, but in Turkish, we do use it a lot because, I don't know, maybe because of the language culture. And yeah, a lot of people misspell and mispronounce it as mütevazi with an E sound at the end with the letter I at the end, but it's the the I without the dot in Turkish, so it has to be mütevazı. Mütevazı, a humble person, mütevazı bir kişi, mütevazı bir kişilik, a humble personality, not mütevazi, not mütevazi. Don't make that mistake. Okay, now this word is one of the most common mispronounced words. It's generally not being misspelled, though people think that Turkish is a language that is phonetic, so it's being pronounced the way it is spelled, but it is not, and this word is the biggest proof it is not, because in Istanbul Turkish, this word is supposed to be pronounced değil. A lot of people say değil, değil, which is probably the way it was supposed to be pronounced when the Turkish language was founded. The intention was that Turkish was supposed to be pronounced the way it was spelled, but languages evolve, and the modern way of speaking Turkish is Istanbul Turkish. That's the modern standard Turkish. And in Istanbul Turkish, it is incorrect to say değil. It is a little bit hard to just to determine and say it is wrong to say değil, because you have a lot of accents, regional accents in Turkey. To say it is wrong would be too harsh, but it is incorrect in the modern Istanbul Turkish. So if you want to speak Istanbul Turkish, which is, as I said, the modern version of Turkish, you would have to say değil, which we use to make a sentence negative. It is not like that, would be öyle değil in Turkish. It is not like that, öyle değil. Now this word leaves a lot of questions in people's minds. And the reason for that is that it has two possible pronunciations. This word can be pronounced as çünkü or as çünkü. You will hear the vast majority of Turkey says çünkü, but you will also hear some people say çünkü. Just over 100 years ago, Turkey was not Turkey, it was the Ottoman Empire. And the language spoken was Ottoman Turkish. The Ottoman used the word çün to show the reason of something, and then added the suffix ki, right? So people used to say çünkü or üçünkü, but as two different words. And then over the time, people mispronounced that. A lot of people just said çünkü instead of çünkü, and then Türk Dil Kurumu, which is the Turkish language foundation, just said, hey, everybody says çünkü instead of çünkü. We should accept it that way. And now we have the word çünkü for years, and since it's in the dictionaries, we're supposed to pronounce it çünkü, but the actual correct way of pronouncing it would be çünkü, because that's where it came from, you know? Yeah, since the Language Foundation said, okay, we're gonna use çünkü from now on, I think it would be possible to just pick either one of them. But I would say the more correct version would be to say çünkü. This word is also being pronounced quite often. It means elegance in Turkish. It is also being misspelled a lot. Not only mispronounced, but also misspelled. The word for elegance is not zerafet. Wrong, 100% wrong. It has to be zarafet. If you say to someone that he or she is elegant, you say zarif, because it comes from the Arabic word zarf. So I say çok zarifsin, you're very elegant. Or if I want to talk about the elegance of someone, I say zarafet, not zerafet. Keep that in mind. Okay, the next word that I hear being only mispronounced, never heard someone use the correct version of it. A lot of people say kapşon, kapşon. This word comes from French. In French, it is pronounced capuchon, and that's the way we're supposed to pronounce it in Turkish. I mean, with the Turkish letters and the Turkish pronunciation, it would be capuchon, not kapşon. A lot of Turkish people just omit the ü and just make it kapşon, just make it a two-syllable word, but it's a three-syllable word. It goes capuchon, not kapşon. Capuchon. Okay, this list Goes on and on. I have so many words that Turkish people mispronounce, and if you have any more, if you know some more, make sure to leave them in the comment section. I'm gonna definitely be uploading a part 2, especially if you like this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell in case you like the stuff that I'm doing on this channel. See you guys in another video. Till then, take care!